everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is Jody Armstrong from the Disability Achievement Center in Largo, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and talk about what their organization and what she does.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Hi, everybody. I'm Jody Armstrong. I am the Director of Outreach for Disability Achievement Center, and we are the Center for Independent Living that serves Pinellas and Pasco counties. And I understand that Rita's been reaching out to all the Centers for Independent Living, so I want to give you an idea of what we do as our basic core services, and then tell you how we can plug in together, how we work during emergencies, and then give you a quick tour of our center because we're pretty happy with what we have here. And first thing, it's let's see, background. I had a long career with the airline. I was with U.S. Airways for many years. I left there. I went to law school. I became an attorney, and 9 years ago today, I survived a Whipple surgery, and I no longer practice law because the stress will kill me this time. So I've been with Disability Achievement Center for 6 years now. I am a former mayor of the Beaches. I'm very well plugged into Pinellas County and have been here for over 20 years. So that's me personally. And then as far as Disability Achievement Center, where we're plugged in, I chair the Pinellas County Council for Persons with Disabilities. We are an advisory committee to the Board of County Commissioners for all things ADA related with the county. I serve in the same capacity, not as the chair, but I serve as a member of the Pasco County ADA Committee. I am a partner with St. Petersburg CAPI, which is the Citizen Advocates for Persons with Impairments. They have been around for, closing in on 40 years and trying to make the city of St. Petersburg fully accessible in their parks and in their government buildings, and they've done a very good job there. And the effort for the Pinellas County Council for People with Disabilities is that same thing, trying to make access available to everyone with disabilities. With regard to emergency response, I have a seat in the Pinellas County EOC, and I serve as the disability advocate during activation. I am the co-chair of the Pinellas County CHAMP, the ESF 8, the Coalition for Health and Medical Preparedness Coalitions, and I attend the Pasco ESF 8 committee meetings as well. And my agency is a full partner with the Recover Tampa Bay Initiative, which is the recovery arm in a disaster. For employment, that's another service that Centers for Independent Living, we try to advocate for persons with disabilities to be gainfully employed. And right now I serve as a board member for CareerSource Pinellas to advocate to that level. We're also partners with Florida Department of Education and the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. For seniors, we have a very strong partnership with the Area Agency on Aging and the Disability Resource Group, the Disability Resource Center Work Group, and I'm part of Pasco Aging Network. And with the Area Agency on Aging, we are a Diapers for Dignity distribution center, but I'll come back to that in a little bit. And with regard to transportation for persons with disabilities, we serve on the Transportation Disadvantage Boards of Pinellas, Pasco, and the Tri-County area. So as you see, this is long and there's a lot, but we are very plugged into as many different aspects of our culture to advocate for persons with disabilities. Centers for Independent Living, we are federally mandated. So we are federally funded and mandated for our core services, and that came as a result of Section 125 of the 1973 Rehabilitation Act. And what that says is that all of our programs are community driven, meaning that we respond to the needs of the local community. And an interesting tidbit about Centers for Independent Living is that the majority, or at least 51%, of our staff and our board of directors must be a person with a disability, so we are who we serve. As Rita pointed out, she's reaching out to all the Centers for Independent Living. We here in Florida are very blessed to be blanketed fully by 15 centers for independent living. So no matter which county you are in the state of Florida, there is a center for independent living. Now, we all offer the 5 core services, and I want to quickly run through those so you get an idea of what every center for independent living, you can count on us doing these things. But as we get into other things, because once we're beyond the core services, we're tasked to respond to the needs of the local community. And this is where the extra programs come in that we offer. So the 5 core services that we offer, starting with number 1, is information and referral. We have one of the most active and deep resource lists in Pinellas and Pasco County. We know where to find what's available here. So if someone is new with a disability, aging into a disability, just had an accident, doesn't know where to start, we do. We know where to work, we've worked the systems, and we know how to work the systems. Independent living skills is number 2, is our second core service. Independent living skills is exactly what it sounds like. We're teaching, we focus on a young adult group. Our young adults are the group that aged out of school or graduated from high school, didn't go on to advanced education, went home, sat on mom and dad's couch for 10 years, and now all of a sudden they're waking up saying, hey, I have to do something. So that is the group. We've got a very robust, active group, and that has maintained social throughout this whole COVID thing. They used to meet here in person every Wednesday, and they've taken it and they've been meeting via Zoom. So we have a regular Zoom meeting. They have a Zoom social meeting on Wednesday afternoons. There's a girls gathering on Fridays, and then there's online Tai Chi on Mondays. So we're being active with our young adults, keeping them involved, keeping them somewhat active as best we can. But we will help anyone who needs assistance with independent living skills. We offer cooking classes. We have a garden outside. The last group learned that I am the worm lady. I don't know how. I must have not been here that day when we have a little worm farm, and I'm the one who's responsible now for the last 2 years of feeding the worms. So, and it all came about of our independent skills training class, skills and social group class. Our third core service is peer mentoring, because folks, there's tricks of the trade, and we like to put folks with like disabilities together so they can teach each other the tricks of the trade. The fourth one, and this one's near and dear to my heart, is advocacy. I am a very strong advocate for the independent living group, the independent living system. I advocate strongly with our legislators. I know all of I don't know the new ones, because since COVID, I haven't been able to go out and talk to them. But once they finish up legislative session this week in Tallahassee, I will be knocking on their doors. And for the new folks who don't know me, for the ones who do know me, I'll visit them and thank them for their support for the initiatives that we have been advocating for. And for the new folks, I'll let them in on all of our secrets here. So on a systemic level, that's what I do. But we also do individual advocacy. I tell a great story. We had a deaf dad and hearing mom have a baby, and they split up shortly afterwards. And mom petitioned the court for full custody of the baby, saying, "Well, he's deaf. He can't hear. He can't be a good dad." And the court awarded the mom full custody of the baby. And dad came to us and said, "Hey, wait a minute. I want to be a dad. This is my child, and I want to be a part of her life." And we attended all of the court hearings with him. We got him into parenting classes, and today he enjoys joint custody of his now 4-year-old daughter with his ex-girlfriend. So that's a really good story. We were able to keep that family and keep that dad involved in that child's life, which is very important. Our fifth core service is transition, and that's, again, another one that means exactly what it sounds like, transition, any type of change, from school to work, from mom and dad's house to your first house, to downsizing as a senior from a big house to a smaller place. We help with all of those, because change can be difficult under normal circumstances, and if you have a disability, it can be even more pronounced. So we try to help through those steps. Transition is something that you'll hear about again as I talk about emergency services and how we work in the shelters. So you'll hear that word again. So those are the 5 core services: information and referral, independent living skills, peer mentoring, individual and systemic advocacy, and transition. So now the other services, then our big task comes in. Okay, what does the community need? The first thing that cropped up in Pinellas County was the need for durable medical equipment and home modifications, because the housing stock here in Pinellas County is roughly 35, on the average of 35 years old. There's high thresholds, there's multiple levels, step up, step down through the house, oftentimes insufficient electricity, and the average age of a rental home is, as I said, 35 years old right now, and a lot of folks, it's just not enough for current lifestyles. So what we started many years ago with the durable medical equipment, we started a loaner closet. Well, that loaner closet got pretty big pretty quickly, and now we have a 2,500 square foot warehouse full of durable medical equipment that we give to free of charge to anyone who cannot afford the things that they need: walkers, rollators, wheelchairs, shower chairs, raised commodes, bed rails, Hoyer lifts. I just keep rolling out, power chairs. There's just all kinds of things that we offer, and I'll give you a visual on that in a little bit. So we started the recycling program. It grew, so now we just give things away, and if somebody wants to donate them when they're done with them, they're more than welcome to donate them back, and they go back into the inventory. We also offer, we install ramps and grab bars. We offer, the Tampa Bay region is the 5th largest concentration of deaf and hard of hearing in the country. One of our staff members has a cochlear implant, and she's deaf, and we serve a tremendous amount of deaf and hard of hearing folks in this area. So those are the extra programs, and now due to COVID, we've changed up a few of the things that we do. With COVID, we started food distribution. So anyone who is unable or unable to get to the grocery store or afraid to go, we are delivering food to every week to folks who are in need. And that's been a wild and woolly ride for us, because we've got refrigerators, freezers, and everything else. We are food prep certified, and we had to really change gears there. I think I work in a restaurant sometimes now. But that's one of the things that we changed. Another thing we did, the PPE. That's another thing we provide: masks, hand sanitizers, and in conjunction with Area Agency on Aging, they provided us with activity kits, coloring books, word search, pencils, things to keep people's minds from being too idle, keep you busy, give you something to do. So we've been giving out since in the 8 months when we started, because I have as of January, so from last year, we delivered food to 317 households. We gave out 242 packages of PPE, 34 activity kits, and 63 people attended our online Tai Chi classes on Monday. So those are all mighty big things that we do. Another thing that we do, and I'm getting ready to unplug my computer because I'm going to take you on a tour. And I'm hoping that you can see, and this all works out better than it did the other day. I'm going to take you on a tour of our center and talk while I walk. Hopefully, make this a little bit interesting for you. I'm walking now to the front door of the building. So if you were to come in the front door, I'm going to show you. I can't see my screen, so somebody's going to have to shout out and tell me if you can't see. So with the front door.
We see the front door.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to try to keep going here. From the front door, we come into what we call the South Room. This is our largest room. This is where we usually hold our gatherings, but what you'll see now, this is where we sort all of our food. We sort and prep our food for pickup and delivery. We've got all the carts out. Non-perishables are up against the wall, and so we're getting ready for Thursday morning already. And we're part of Feeding Tampa Bay, and we're one of 7 small agencies that picks up food from a mini hub. and we have to take 1/7 of it. This is our break room, but I wanted to show you the refrigerators and the freezers. I mean, we weren't fooling around when we started all this effort, but it just kept growing. We kept needing more. So heading out now to the warehouse. Again, it's a 2,500 square foot warehouse. And I'm going to try to go slow so you can see. The boxes that you're seeing are full of incontinence supplies. We have become one of the largest distributors, in conjunction with Area Agency on Aging, of the Diapers for Dignity program, where we provide incontinence supplies to anyone who needs. Area Agency on Aging, they are limited to seniors only, but because we have a tremendous supply of our own, we're able to help out any age, and that really makes us a valuable asset. So we've got incontinence supplies. You can see the stack of the raised commodes, shower chairs, bariatric shower chairs, bed rails, grab bars, manual wheelchairs in all kinds of sizes, from transport all the way up to bariatric. You've got the roll-in showers, lots of walkers, canes, crutches, lots of power chairs. The power chairs that are located here in the warehouse are not in operating order. We wait until we match it with a person before we put money into it. I do have a catch of probably 6 or 7 that are inside, that are kept inside because the batteries will die out here in the heat. You also see some Hoyer lifts in the back there, and that gives you a pretty good idea of what we have. So if in a shelter, if you needed 30 wheelchairs, we can have them here for you. So talking about what we do in an emergency, and hopefully I won't drop the computer this time. In an emergency, what we did at the Pisano shelter was Tim Exline gave us a call after Hurricane Michael when the folks came down from the Panhandle and asked if we had a lift chair. Now, we've got all kinds of equipment out there, but that was one thing we didn't have. And we asked, well, okay, we don't have a lift chair. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? And there was a large woman who had soiled her chair, and they were afraid that the skin would begin breaking down. So the family was very concerned. We had just procured a vapor steam cleaner that we used to sanitize everything, and and we took it up there, and the family used it, and they were thrilled. They were very happy. It worked. While we were there, there was a woman who was deaf who could not communicate. So our person here, who is also deaf, was able to convey what she needed. So there were some needs there. And then the one person, well, I said I'd come back to transition. Transition is also diversion. And as in the shelter, what we try to do is advocate for persons being placed in the least restrictive environment possible. So what that meant, there was a woman who was full care at the Pisano shelter, and her aide left her one day into the Pisano, or right, one day into there, and she had no one. And her only alternative, if we did not intervene, would have been a nursing home. This young woman had her entire life fought to stay out of nursing homes. She was as independent as she could possibly have been, and she was adamant about not going into a nursing home. So what we did, we found her, we pulled all kinds of strings. We pulled out every contact we had. We were able, within 24 hours, to secure her a place in a brand new group home. We got her a hospital bed, a Hoyer lift, and all the shower and the bathroom equipment that she needed to live safely. She lived here for 1.5 years before she was able to go back to the Panhandle, because her place had been destroyed. So, and because of that, that was one of the things, we kept her out of the nursing home. Once someone with a disability goes into a nursing home, it is extremely difficult to get them back out again. So as shelter workers, anyone who works in a shelter, please know that this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep these folks out of nursing homes if at all possible. There's cases where that is the right thing. But in many cases, there are solutions and alternatives that we can work through. So that's what I would ask of you in a shelter. So number one, call us either through the Pinellas EOC if the EOC is open. Call us if it's not open. Call us directly, and we will respond as fast as we can. We understand emergencies. We respond quickly. And we know the consequences. If this doesn't happen, something worse is really going to happen. So that's my main message, is how we can help. We can provide the equipment, and how you can help us is know that we're trying to help this person in the least restrictive environment possible. So I'm looking at, there's somebody, a conversation, nothing in there's some chat here.
There's chat, yeah. So go ahead.
Okay, I was just seeing if there was anything, any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Because I've just been rolling through this.
What is the number that you'd call? What is the number that you'd call? And can you do it for, I'm a caseworker, so if I've got a disability person, can I call you even though they're down here, or you only do Pinellas County? That's my two questions.
So if you look, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do Pinellas and Pasco, but down here, where's
okay. So Holly, this is the project I'm working on, okay? And I'm going to have a resource list of all disability-related resources that we vetted in our region, okay? And so we do have a Center for Independent Living for every county, okay? And so basically, you can Google search it, but that will be shared with you probably within the next month. For right now, if you have a question with disabilities, if you're doing casework, call me and I'll work through it with you, okay?
Thanks.
Yeah, because there's one for Orange County, there's one in Orange County, there's one on Space Coast. Yeah. We're in the process of doing an MOU with the people on Space Coast. There's one that covers Sarasota, Bradenton, that's the Sun Coast. There's a lot of them. Now, that being said, these other places don't have a warehouse like you all do.
Right. We have
the biggest warehouse.
So, but you said that because in an event of an emergency, and right now in blue skies, I serve Pinellas and Pasco. In an emergency, in a declared emergency, I have MOUs with the other centers for independent living where we can assist in an emergency another center.
So like okay, yeah.
What's an MOU?
We have to go through the other centers, right? I mean, so if we have a caseworker that's working with a client that's in Daytona, they need to call the Center for Independent Living from Daytona. Okay, and until you get this should be out in the next month. But in the meanwhile, if you guys have any questions with anybody with a disability that you need assistance with, a lot of this is handled by health services. Health services normally will be handling it. We've been working with these folks all along. So, okay. And I'm putting my phone number in here so you guys can call me if you have anything with disabilities.
Thank you.
Sorry. All right. Any other questions? I think those folks that are doing sheltering, if you wind up with a client that you're having difficulty with and figuring out how to handle them, I mean, probably you'll call health services or you can call me. And then, we'll refer through calling the disability services, the Center for Independent Living, and they can help us problem solve. If they can't help us directly, they can help us with who we should call. How can we handle this problem?
Right. So
Jody, this is Kathy. I do have a question.
Okay.
When you were talking about, services for if the client needs a wheelchair or whatever that may be, how do they qualify in order to get those and be able to keep them? Because I know you mentioned that. What's the qualifications or the requirements that the client got to meet in order to get that for free and to be able to keep it?
The way we work it is if you have basically self-declared disability. That's it. There are no income requirements. We do on an intake form, when we ask questions, we ask if there's insurance. If there's insurance, we know whether they're going to cover the item or not. If somebody wants a power wheelchair, we do ask for a doctor's note, because oftentimes a doctor does not want their patient in a wheelchair. They want them walking. They don't want them in a wheelchair. So we go through all these little steps to make sure that that person actually is qualified and is able to get that piece of equipment.
But if they need a walker, they need a walker.
Right. You need a walker, you need a walker. That's it. We had a couple that had no insurance, and they got in a car accident and the girl broke her leg. They didn't even have money for crutches. So we gave them a transport chair, we gave her crutches. So they were able to keep moving. That's, sometimes it's just those little things that people don't have. And then when they're done with it, they come and donate them back. We do a lot of that. Somebody who had a extensive foot surgery repair called us and said, we're looking for something that you can put the leg up on. So that's a knee walker. They didn't know what it was called, but it's like, here, yeah, we've got a knee walker. And came, picked it up, used it for 12 weeks, brought it back. That's just how it works pretty well. So the threshold is basically you have to ask. And when we're referring people, we have a special form. As a Center for Independent Living, we are all about independence. And what we look for when somebody's asking for services is a sign of independence. So what that means is we had nurses and doctors' offices calling us, say, hey, this person needs this or this person needs this. And it's like, slow down. No, we need to have the person call us. But what we did with like Baycare, we have a one-page form with the information, what the person needs, and at the bottom there's a statement. I have spoken with the consumer and they are aware that you will be calling, because we are not allowed to cold call. What that form does, saying, okay, so somebody says they need something, they've told the person we're going to call. Okay, so now I have this form and I trust that we trust the person who sent the form in. We call the person and then we're able to handle the need. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, good. So
I have a question about the sheltering for the hurricanes. When we are setting up a shelter for a hurricane, is it already set up with y'all for getting extra wheelchairs, like a bariatric wheelchair? Is that something that's already in place, or is that something that has to be set up on individual events?
Individual events. That's a good question. That's a very good question. Because I talk frequently to the folks up in Pasco, and they have Fasano shelter is fairly well stocked, but there's needs. There's still needs there, and everything is different because what you plan for is not what you get.
Yeah, and health services works also with we do have a limited supply of extra large bariatric cots, things like that. We try and make sure that they have some in each shelter.
Right. That was a big effort. And that's what we've seen here in the last year and a half, is that request for bariatric size equipment. We never had that many requests before, but we're getting them now.
Frank has his hand up, or is that who just spoke?
Yeah, I just spoke about the question I had.
Yeah, I couldn't tell who was talking. Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
You can take your hand down. I can do it. No, I can't. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Well, I wish I had pictures of everyone so I would know who I'd be running into when if I'm at a shelter. So
Well, yeah,
I
people
hope you remember me.
yeah, you guys can put your cameras on if you want. Should we, you can see, we're mostly concerned about bandwidth, when somebody's talking, but go
Yep.
on.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody put your camera on. Let's see if I could do that. What is that thing called? The together mode. How's that?
Ooh, let's be together.
Come on, everybody, put your cameras on. I've always wanted to do this.
And Bob knows how to make it look like we're all sitting in chairs.
That I provide entertainment,
Uh,
All right. Yes, there. So, okay.
There's more people on. Not everybody's put their.
Is anybody okay, I'm going to ask, is anyone from Pinellas will be in a Pinellas shelter? Pasco?
No.
I would be in a Pinellas shelter if called to do so. I have been in Pinellas. I have responded to Pinellas.
I've been to Pisano more than once.
I mean,
But
it
with health
just depends on
services.
where the disaster is.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I was in Pinellas. Now I'm Punta Gorda, but I serve as Pinellas shelter.
Okay.
That she'd be sending folks to Pinellas. Karen, she's in charge of our mass care.
Gotcha. Okay. It's always good to see a face, So that's I'm glad you turned your cameras on.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions?
I also have served up in the Tallahassee EOC. Last March, I was up in Tallahassee, so I got to see their operation. And I can tell you what, a Pinellas EOC is much bigger and much nicer than the one in Tallahassee. Even though Tallahassee is the main pulse, Pinellas County's got the EOC down pat. Much bigger, much more comfortable. So, I am very grateful to have some time with each one of you. I'm actually thinking of getting you guys, it's like, okay, who am I going to see next?
This is very.
Means there's an emergency. We don't want another one. Thanks.
That's right. The last thing I want to bring up, and it's something fun that we do every year, it's called the Ability Experience. And if you're not in this area, it may not work for you, but I would absolutely love to invite you to attend the Ability Experience with us. It's on Wednesday, May 19th from 2 to 3:30 in the afternoon. And what it is, it's a group of Pi Kappa Phi fraternity brothers who are cycling from Miami to Tallahassee over 800 miles in 2 weeks, and they're raising awareness for people with disabilities. And what they do along their stops is they make friendship stops. And these 32 cyclists come rolling in on their bicycles, all with their same shirts on, the team shirts, and their support vehicles behind them. And it is a wonderfully interactive event. The young gentlemen, they're like sponges. They just want to learn everything and know everything about your area. So this year I've invited 2 keynote speakers because our interaction, because usually what we do, I have one speaker and then we get to mix and mingle. This time I'm going to have 2 speakers because I don't know how much mixing and mingling we're going to be able to do. It's all going to be outside under the tent. But my 2 speakers are David Yates, who recently retired as CEO of Clearwater Marine Aquarium and home of Winter the Dolphin, and he will talk about winter. And Dr. Ann Weaver, who is an animal behavioral specialist. She has been watching and studying the dolphins in the intercoastal waterways for the last 20 years. And she was just published in a scientific paper, and she will be talking about how dolphins interact with their lesser abled. I'll give you a tidbit. Part of one of the things I did, I hired David Yates at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. I was a board member who helped save the organization. And then I turned around and worked with David for the first 18 months and took the organization through the first $2 million of construction. Wow. So David and I go way back, and it's going to be an exciting event. The guys are excited to travel. Last year we did it virtually, and it was interesting watching the guys on their cycles riding to different music to, they're just a funny bunch of guys who.
They're a fraternity.
Say again?
They're a fraternity.
It's a fraternity from all
Yeah.
over the country.
Yeah.
They're a philanthropic fraternity. And I just think that is the most amazing thing is these young philanthropists. We need to develop them because I'm not getting any younger. And so, you know, I need these young guys to come, you know, help the nonprofits behind us, you know, develop them. And I just think that's awesome. So it's a great time. It's only an hour and a half, but it is a very fun-filled hour and a half. And that's like one of the few things that we do out of our normal step during the year. So if Wednesday, May 19th, if you're available, we'd love to have you.
I shared your flyers with some of the folks. I'll share it with some more people to see, you know, if they want to pass it on.
Great.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you very much. If there's no more questions, yeah, thanks. And this is recorded, so, you know, I'll make sure that you all have the link, so if you want to share it with other people. Thanks again, Jody.
It's nice to meet all of you. Thanks for the
Yeah.
work that you do. And I hope, you know, I hope to meet you in person, but that's kind of like a double-edged sword because that's
Right.
asking for trouble, you know?
Yeah, it's not going to be good unless we come up there on the, well, I can't come up there, but anyway. All righty.
All right. You guys all have a
Thanks.
wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you for joining me. And I'm glad I got to show you what I do.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.